riding a big wave, eh? Well, obviously it depends on the size, but the really big ones and the really steep ones are about as exciting as life gets, I think, eh? You know, generally I don't remember much. I remember paddling, and then I'll look down, and then all of a sudden I'll be at the bottom, you know, like everything just sort of disappears. I think your instincts just take over, and it's just like pure adrenaline, and you just hope that when you get to the bottom you're still on your border in one piece. I watched the movie Avatar the other day, and for me it was like when they get on those dragons and they jump off those floating rocks, and it's just like it's just like that feeling of when your heart's in your mouth. Yeah, I don't know, man, it's incredible, eh?
The concept of big wave riding actually, in certain ways, was born here in California, in Southern California. There was a picture that came out of Makaha in Hawaii, on Oahu, of George Downing riding a large wave. This was in the early 50s, and that sent basically a whole legion of Southern California watermen over to Hawaii to ride these big waves. In the last decade, thanks to events like the Billabong XXL Awards, you're seeing little pockets of big wave crews at everywhere from Ireland to South Africa to Spain. You know, it's all around the world. And all these places have amazing big waves during the right season. I think that's the biggest thing you've seen in the last 10 years is just how many people have started pursuing big waves. Before it was strictly a Hawaii, California thing, you know, with some couple Aussies thrown in the mix and a Brazilian or two, but now it's truly a United Nations of big wave riders.
Come on, South Africa, I love
you. The purest, most difficult form of big wave riding still is paddling into a massive wave with your bare hands.
I've always seen footage of Mavericks and of Waimea Bay and Todos Santos, and I've always wanted to come and surf here. Well, I saw the waves, you see them on magazines and on the TV. I really wanted to come see how these waves compared to the waves that we ride in South Africa. This year I had enough money to come across. Luckily this has been like the best season in the last 10 years. When I was in Hawaii, I was just helping out as like a little tool boy for an electrician. Just do anything to get a bit of money to be able to afford the next plane ticket somewhere. It's different surfing big waves than surfing small waves. Surfing small waves is fun and you always kind of feel at ease and in control. But when it's 20 foot, 15 to 20 foot, you're not in control anymore, the sea's in control.
You're just living so in the moment because, you know, inside, you know you want to ride one, you want to paddle in and catch the biggest wave of your life.
It's like a different sport compared to the small surf. And I think you get addicted to that thing because you need it more.
And you can be out there in a space that's way more beautiful than what you would have been if you look at these 15-foot waves and say, there's no way I'm going there because those things are too scary. And then you just end up sitting over here for the rest of your life.
Maybe 100 guys, not more than that, can go where we go. So that makes our community very special.
All of us, no matter what stage of life we are, really feel like we're the luckiest people on the planet.
And another real unique aspect of our sport is it only happens, you know, maybe 10, 12 days of the year.
You got to wait for the sea to be right.
This year we've been really lucky. It's an LE year.
We've been here 3 months now. We must have surfed 20 odd days, 25 days of really clean, beautiful waves.
Big wave surfing is not about just throwing yourself over the cliff. It's a calculated risk you're making, and you do that based on knowledge, not just being a fool.
It's really amazing how far the surf forecasting and technology's come that we can really follow these swells year-round, and every week or two be surfing big waves somewhere in the world if you had the financial means and time to travel.
Most people kind of look at the ocean, but they don't really see it. This is a couple years of being a buoy on the top of my house. Knowing when the waves are going to happen at the time was really like voodoo.
But you know what? I've got one thing better. I can look at it virtually, and I can not only know what the surf is doing now, but I'll know what it's doing tomorrow, the day after that, and the week after that, before it ever happens. So you don't have to be a complete beach bum. You can actually have a job, have a wife, have kids, and go surfing. You can have the best of both worlds. There's specific readings coming off the buoys that really define when a break is going to turn on. There's two components, the height of the swell, and then there's the period of a swell is seconds between one swell to the next. The longer the period, the more energy there is in the swell, and the more powerful it is, and that's good up to a point. Just like throwing a pebble into a pond and these ripples move out. Our pebble is a storm with 50-knot winds, and our ripples are really 30 or 40-foot waves pushing out from the storm, moving towards Northern California. So that by the time it hits Northern California, it's this groomed long wall of water just moving right towards the coast. And that's perfect for Mavericks. No lump, no bump, just pure lines of energy.
We're a mainland coast, so we get almost any swell. We just have more exposure. Hawaii is just like more exclusive. It has to be a special swell for Waimea to break.
So let's just say that you want to surf the biggest waves possible on this next storm coming off Japan. I'd probably have you go to Hawaii first, then I'd have you jump on a plane and fly over to San Francisco and then surf Mavericks. And then jump on a plane, fly down to LA, go down to Mexico and surf Todos Santos. All the same swell. That'd be fun.
Well, it's not working today here just because the wind has been beating it up all day and all night. If it didn't have that wind, it would have been going off today, but we just got unlucky with that. The swell also tracked real far north at the same time it passed Hawaii, so it tracked up to Northern California. This is the same swell that we're going to see on Saturday, right now hitting Hawaii. What? That was mental. Ooh, this is poopy. So I hope they hold it. If it's big and messy, maybe I'll have a better chance or something. Who knows? It's big, it's hitting arm. Ooh. Probably yesterday or last night, what was hitting Hawaii is going to be the peak of it in Northern California. But this is way smaller than California is going to get. Everything's so last minute. So I'm buying my tickets usually the day before I'm supposed to leave, and you got to put a lot of areas in your life on hold. Family, friends, relationships. I don't know where I'm going to be next week. I don't know if I'm going to be going to California or not tomorrow or even tonight. So you don't really get to settle down. Final result. Event is on. Time to book a flight. Still looks big. Forecast is still holding strong with the swell, and the wind's actually getting more favorable. There's a high tide in the morning, which is not good. So maybe they'll do like a 10 a.m. start, run at 10 to 5. Sounds like their best option right now. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if, we had the biggest, best contest at Mavericks ever. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I know that's what we've all been holding out for. Everybody wants to see, the biggest yet, and I've got a good feeling that we'll see it sooner rather than later. We're chasing the swell that's hitting Hawaii right now over to Half Moon Bay in Northern California. What they say right now, which could change, everything changes, they're saying that it'll be probably like 40-foot faces, something like that. I hope so. Hopefully it comes together. It's still all figments of everybody's imagination until it actually happens.
Blue Line train. Board here for rental car center and flight station.
Rental car center. Please exit.
Nothing's impossible. If you believe it, anything's possible. It's a spot that everybody's like tried and tested, and that's what you measure up to, is that one particular wave. And if you can handle that wave, you can handle anywhere in the world.
What's this barrel? What's this barrel? Pack it, pack it.
Now, big wave surfing as a sport just didn't exist, so there was no career path. For myself, there was no career path for professional surfing at any time when I started, so we started building a sport out of it, because without a sport, although it is a great lifestyle, money doesn't follow unless it's a sport.
Big waves have that mass appeal. It's like watching Evel Knievel jump the Grand Canyon or something. I mean, they can see the risk and the craziness. It's a niche within the surfing community, and there's not many of these guys who are able to make a real living off it.
Maverick contest is going to run. It's just getting light, and I think it's going to be a lot of carnage.
A bit of fog around, but it seems to be clearing. I heard the buoys are 22 and 17 up the coast, so that's obviously really good swell readings. The wind seems to have gone easterly, so hopefully it's starting to clean up out there. It should be really big. That's what we wanted, right?
All of the big wave competitions that are running at the moment, you have to be invited to. Usually there are 24 people that get invited to the competition, and there's a bunch of alternates.
Yeah, making a living out of big wave surfing is really tough. You know, there's probably 10 guys around the world that actually have done it successfully, you know. I think the rest of us are trying.
Looking for the biggest wave and the most critical takeoff.
No way, he made it in front of the lift.
But nowadays, the surfers have got so good and their techniques got so good that the maneuvers that they perform afterwards are starting to come into a lot of play too.
You know, you look at stuff from back in the 50s, and guys were paddling into some large waves back then. So what I always thought we need to do is take the performance level up. Go on bigger waves, do crazier things, pull it off. And Mavericks was that. So when you're paddling and it's huge, you know, 40, 50-foot faces, you first see the swell on the horizon in a set. You know, you can see miles out to sea. When it's that big, you can see these swells coming. And you got some time. It's going to be a couple of minutes before it gets to you. And there's usually a pack of guys out, and people start, you know, getting nervous and moving around. Everybody's moving to where they want to be, whether it's just to get away from the wave when it comes in. Other guys are moving kind of where they think they might be able to catch it. And then the third group of guys, which is usually a really small group, is going where they know it's going to be. The few guys that stay inside are running a huge risk of actually getting caught inside when this wave comes. So it really comes down to, and this part I really love, it's holding your ground. You just got to hold your ground and sit there when you see this wave. It doesn't look real. It looks like one of those tidal wave scenes computer generated on movies or something. It doesn't seem right, and even for me, every instinct in your body is saying run. you have to force yourself to be there. You're really not catching it with paddling. You're kind of staying in the same spot, and hopefully you're putting yourself in a position where just the gravity of falling down the face will keep you with the wave.
You just kind of give a few extra strokes just to make sure you are definitely halfway, in that face and paddling down it, because if you get up too fast, it just sucks up underneath you and you end up airdropping and maybe wiping out.
What I try to tell myself is I've been in this situation before and I can do this. At some point I make up my mind, no matter what happens, I'm going. Because it's going to be a very thin line between making it and not making it. You don't always know where that line is until you just try. You have to try. The biggest waves I've ever ridden, none of them seemed makeable when I was paddling for them.
Understanding how the ocean moves, it seems like everything that you've ever learned from being a kid as far as wave judgment, understanding the swells, the currents, the tide, the wind, comes into play in watching these waves, and then that instant moment where you see, okay, I can catch this one from here.
And your body's saying no, but your mind's forcing your body to go.
And you spin around and put your head down and paddle your heart out.
You get this feeling of weightlessness. It feels like you and your board are almost falling separately. You're on there, but it's kind of like a big roller coaster ride where you get that zero gravity feeling and you're just trying to stay over your board and you're going so fast. And it's usually like pop, 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 pop. Like you can hear your board just chattering as it's skipping like a stone down the wave.
It's like pretty sad, Biggest wave of the day coming.
Like people go, what about a wipeout? And I go, well, that's almost more fun than a successful ride because you really test yourself. When you've been pulled down and you're running out of air and you're on reserve air and going, oh, I'm going to get past reserve air and I'm still getting thrown around and it's dark.
And it's funny, because I can hold my breath for 5 minutes if I'm in a pool or just lying there in a bath. But I don't know, man. 30 seconds seems like an awful long time when you're down there. And when you're down deep and it's holding you down.
I sometimes, when there's a big set coming, I just visualize myself going to go for a dive. Like now, I'm going to hold my breath and I'm going to just dive. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to come up.
Yeah, he's inside. He's up, he's up, he's up.
What other urge does a human body have that's greater than the urge to breathe? You want that oxygen. You want to stay coherent and save all that oxygen for your brain. It's so hard to control your mind. You can physically, it's easy to control things, but to know yourself well enough to be able to control your mind and get yourself together in a bad situation and think logically and not get wrapped up in emotions that are going to end up being very detrimental to you. That's one of the toughest things.
Got him.
I got on the sled and I'll never forget, he was like, okay, grab your board and pull up on the sled. And I just couldn't. I was like, I can do anything but that. I can just sit here. I just didn't want to be in the ocean anymore. I felt like it was trying to kill me. When that was happening, what was going through my head was that I shouldn't be here at the bottom of the ocean in Northern California. I could be hanging out with my son surfing in Hawaii in trunks and 1-foot waves. And this is really stupid. I'm really selfish and never going to do this again if I survive, I promise. Get all religious in those moments. But when I made it to the surface, I was really happy. Very, very grateful and tired and sore and felt like I had like a mild concussion for the rest of the day and went back and slept for about 24 hours.
things can go terribly wrong even when you don't expect them to. And we've seen some of the most competent watermen in the world pass away riding big waves, and that's just one of the aspects and the hazards of it that you have to live with and understand and be content with before you go out there. You know, something were ever to go wrong and the worst case scenario did come upon me, then I'd be happy that that's the way it happened. Sure beat getting in a car accident.
Every scene is so extreme when you talk about big wave surfing. You know, you cannot set up a date. The stage is not a square, it's in the ocean. The ocean, it's always different.
It's not like a golf course where, okay, here's your hole, here's your shot. It's ever changing.
Huge waves, strong currents, wind, sun, rocks. Huge wipeouts, hold downs. We are now going bigger and bigger. It's very stressful. It's not easy at all. It's endurance. It's how much stress can you support? More than being in the final and get a good result was being a part of it. You know, I know that I did my best. I know that I almost died a couple times.
Grab a hand quick, grab net, grab net. Your mantle, Carlos. Come on up, come on up.
There's definitely a brotherhood with the big wave surfers. You share a lot of intense moments together, you know? It's probably like guys that go to war with each other. There's not very many people that say that they have life and death situations multiple times in a year with their friends.
Saw things that I've never seen before, and the guys pushing it to places that we've never been, and it was terrifying sitting in the channel just watching.
Todos is one of the most picture-perfect big waves I've surfed. The whole experience, you know, going down to Mexico, the little boat ride out to the island before light, you know, and watching the sun come up as you're going out there. the setting of it with the lighthouse on the island and the blue, clean water, and it's a little bit warmer than at Maverick, so it's a little bit less harsh and intimidating and things.
Yes, and you got one.
I'm in love with Todos Santos.
Not too many people have come to Todos. The other day when you were there, that Wednesday was really exciting because there were South Africans, Hawaiians, guys from Mavericks. Everybody was there. You know, it was different. We were watching the different approaches.
It's probably the most special event because there's no prize money. You know, I've flown halfway around the world to compete in this event. Whether I came first or last didn't make any difference. It's about the pure love and joy and celebration of surfing big waves. It's a passion, it's something we're addicted to. Riding big waves and being part of the ocean and being in touch with nature. It's something, you know, some people take drugs, some people jump off cliffs. You know, we take on big waves and there's nothing that comes close to that. I paid 20,000 Rand that I don't even have, at risking possibly my relationship with my girlfriend, my job, and I'm still here, and I'm stoked. Doesn't that sum up the essence of the passion for riding big waves?
Everything that I do in my life is to try and get into that place, and when I'm there, then everything makes sense. When I'm not there and I hear that, you know, there were big waves and I missed it, and then I feel depressed and upset. Even if I don't catch a wave, I'll come out and feel all right because at least I was there. You know, everything that I do in my life is to be there.
Who's in the final competing against you?
I know Carlos is in the final. Shane's in the final. Ramon's in the final. Twiggy's in the final.
Washy's in the
and
final.
Wash.
So pretty much you're going to have an international final.
Yeah, totally international mix. Well, there's 20-foot waves today, so gotta love that. We got the size. That's what we really want. That's what's important, you know.
Good luck, brother. Thank you, my friend. All right.
I think there's a few of the guys that have got what it takes, you know. It's getting really competitive, and I think the guys that have been in these contests for a long time have got to watch their backs, you know, because we're coming. Yeah, don't put that in.
You get a big wave and you made it, you're gonna need another one. You're never gonna stop. I don't think I can say like, oh, that was the biggest wave in my life, I'm gonna stop and quit. When you get that one, you gotta looking for another one bigger than that one. And it's the same thing when you get a wave pod. Like, you're not gonna try to looking for a wave pod better than that one, but you have to be prepared for that. So when you get huge wave pod and like waves mashing you, and you made it and you're safe, like, oh, thank you God I made it. Like, you appreciated really much everything, like the little thing on the planet, you know.
I personally think there's just a certain personality type who feels a little bit of regret or just feels anxiety if they're not at the biggest spot on any given day, or at the, you know, getting the most out of a large swell and being on a giant wave. And you know, it's funny, I always try to think back, like, why do I do this? And I go back to one of the first sessions that I had in big waves where I decided that it was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And it really wasn't the actual act of the weightless drop and looking up at the huge wall or anything like that, but it's the feeling you get after the session where you feel your body's completely spent, you feel like you kind of cheated death for the day, and you know in your heart that you were at the biggest possible place, riding the biggest possible waves. That's the feeling that you're always chasing.
We can talk, but it's hard for me to talk properly.
The qualities of a big wave surfer is you gotta be a little crazy, probably. So it's really tough. It's kind of like a smack addict or something, you know? You're looking for that original high. I don't want to make it sound bad.
I guess it's a drug. I guess you could call us drug dealers.
You copy over?
Yeah.
This is Chris Burdish. We're working the slimline edition of this entire story. So I'm going to speak in really small, quick sentences at high speed. Hello, hello. Game on face.